Steven, do you know who's the greatest ever on a microphone during a show on radio? I mean, it could be me. I could be the greatest ever of all time on the radio. Just so good. Just like the best. I'm kidding. Or am I?
That's right, Steven. Who is a radio star today?
The GOAT, Jared Polin.
That's me, all right. I'm famous. I was on the radio.
The man, the myth, the legend.
93.3 WMMR. Radio. Terrestrial. Yeah, I'm alluding to the fact that I was on the Preston and Steve show, who are a staple here for the last 20 years in Philly.
Oh, yeah.
And they're on WMMR, and I was asked to come on to talk about my book, too, to talk about music photography, talk about my old school cameras, and generally just have a good conversation. And that conversation was roughly 33 minutes, which was actually longer than what they told me they allotted, which was anywhere roughly 20 minutes, and we almost doubled that.
Which means you were a good guest.
The best guest, Stephen.
Excuse me.
Some might say perhaps I was the best guest ever. The best guest perhaps in all of history and all of the radio. That was good. So that will be coming up. We're actually going to play the entire segment because I thought it was really good. They had great questions. There was a lot of great back and forth. And we'll get to this before we run the show. We'll talk a little bit about some of the stuff that happened and then do a post wrap up. But I think it's important that we play it because it's always cool to get someone else's take on what I do. And you might learn something different about me that you didn't know, or I think people like to smile when they know the inside baseball and be like, I knew that already. So that will be coming up in this episode, along with talking about something about my dad. We're going to talk about the RX1 R3 recap of the video that we filmed, some DJI and 360 news. Then we'll get to the recording of the Preston and Steve show where Jared was a radio star in a world of the internet today. So let's start with Steven's birthday.
I worked. It was a fun day of working like crazy. We actually filmed, speaking of the RX1R3 review, we filmed that and a comparison with the A7CR that day. And we were running around with our heads cut off trying to film everything before having to send it back to Sony. We only had a few days with that camera.
Yeah, we had a few days, and that's why last week I ended up doing the show myself because we needed the time to do the filming and other stuff.
You were literally recording while I was upstairs filming beauty shots and prepping for the next shoot. I was actually going to come down and like kind of scream in the background or something. I was I don't want to throw them off. I could hear you like screaming, answering questions.
I'm not
You're
loud.
so loud, dude.
I'm not loud.
I'm like, I'm glad I'm not filming up here.
I am very loud. I also noticed when I was talking to Preston off air after the show, he remained loud like radio, even in regular conversation. So that was funny.
But yeah, it was a good birthday, minus working like crazy, but I'm glad we got all that done and out the door. I did actually catch Happy Gilmore 2 that night. I'll keep my thoughts to myself on that until you get caught up and watch that. I'm actually surprised you haven't watched that yet.
I was supposed to watch it a few times with a few people, but it just fell through. And movies are not exactly my staple go-to thing to watch when shows are so good.
I mean, you were a big fan of Happy Gilmore, no?
No, I'm not like a big fan of stupid stuff. I liked Happy Gilmore, but it's just like...
Just because of the hockey aspect, I thought you were a big fan.
No, it was good. It's Happy Gilmore. It's a good movie for 20-some years ago. And I don't know, like... I never watched Anchorman 2. I never watched Zoolander 2. Yeah. I never did. I don't go and watch the stupid... Like, when they were funny then, it's going to be hard to do it again today. Well, did you get cake?
I did get cake, yes. I got
what kind of
chocolate ice cream cake.
Oh, ice cream cake?
Ice cream cake's the best.
Did you get that Pussyfoot the Pussyfoot the whale?
What?
You don't know Pussyfoot the whale?
No.
Wasn't that Baskin Robbins' treat was Pussyfoot?
I don't know.
And it's an ice cream whale? Let me Google this.
We just happened to get a local cake from a place around here. Nothing crazy.
Ice cream whale. Let's see. Oh, Fudgy the Whale from Carvel. I thought his name was Pussyfoot.
It's like, what are you talking about?
The iconic Fudgy the Whale is the life of any party. Each Carvel's handmade item starts with the original soft serve created in 1934. Today, our delicious treats and classic ice cream cakes are a staple at birthdays. I thought he was called Pussyfoot.
Why would he be called that?
I don't know.
Like, in what world does that make sense?
Ice cream whale cake names. I'm Googling this because I really thought it was pussy. It's puss. It's cookie puss. It's cookie puss, the whale. There it is. Not pussyfoot. Oh, no. Okay. There were 3 different ones. There's Hug Me Bear, there's Fudgy the Whale, and there's Cookie Puss. Cookie Puss has a penis for a nose. Oh, my God. Look up Cookie Puss.
Are these like 80s cake names or something?
1970s names.
Why would I know this stuff? I wasn't even
I
born.
don't know Cookie Puss. Let me read the Cookie Puss real fast.
Oh, my God.
Cookie
so much
Puss.
for a short show.
Yeah, no. Cookie Puss is an ice cream cake character created by Carvel in the 1970s as an expansion of its line of freshly made exclusive products, along with Hug Me the Bear, which is now pedophile, the Epstein the Bear, made exclusive products along with Hug Me the Bear and Fudgy the Whale. The cake is fashioned with a space alien that used cookies for eyes and ice cream cone for the nose. And that was Cookie Puss, not whatever the hell I said, Pussy Cook or Pussyfoot. Pussyfoot. I thought it was Pussyfoot the whale, and I missed up Fudgy the Whale with Cookie Puss, and I didn't realize they were early to the game with Epstein Island ice cream cake.
Such a random thought.
Yeah, that's just how my brain works. Anyway,
I'm aware.
I hope you got the text message from the text line.
Did you mean to do that, by the way?
I sent it to everybody. So anybody who has a birthday that day, you so happen to be on the text line with 313-710-9729. People put in their birthdays, their birth dates. And so that anybody with that birth date, I can personally send a message, not AI, Jared, that talks about cake.
The text I got was, look at this. It's your birthday today. It also so happens to be Steven's as well. So that means cake. But Steven doesn't like cake. Send your cake photos back. I want to see. Happy birthday from me, Jared. And I said, whoa, I can't believe I share a birthday with such a legend. I'm honored.
Yeah, but the truth is, you don't like cake. And I was right because you ate
I'm
ice
more
cream.
of an ice cream fan, yeah.
Ice cream cake is not cake. It's ice cream. And it still
Correct.
sucks.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
How do
All
you
right.
not like ice cream?
Because cake is so much better. It's cake.
It's
got
ice cream.
It's corn. It's got these tasty morsel knobs. It's got the juice. It's got the juice. Cake. It's the most wonderful thing.
Man, this is like a solo Jared off the rails episode already.
Steven.
Let's reel it back in.
Speaking of off the roll, what are we going to wheel in Cookie Puss? The fucking whale from Epstein Island?
Here we go.
That's right, guys. I was on Epstein Island too, and I brought Minnie with me, and we had fun diddling each other. All right, so many great questions came in last week, and I went over the questions, and there were many more submitted on the text line that I will be adding to a list.
Will you though? Because you always say you're going to, and you never
I have
do.
a list.
Well, what's going to happen is next time we need to do a solo episode, you're going to ask for more questions and never go back to the old ones.
What I may do is actually pull the full list, record the audio, bank the audio so that we have it and that it's ready to go when it needs to go.
Yeah, because I'm in Tennessee in 2 weeks, so there's going to be another solo episode that week.
Yeah, people were like, you should have Vanessa on.
Sure.
And I don't know if I'll have Vanessa on. I don't want to talk
available.
about that.
Yeah.
She's busy. She's all over the place.
Yeah.
She's got the juice. She's got the juice. So, yeah, that's what's going to happen with the Q&A. So don't fret. If they're good questions, I will probably read them. If they're shitty questions,
probably not get to them.
no, if they're shitty questions, just know that if I don't read yours, it was a shitty question. I'm kidding. It wasn't a shitty question, but some of them were. Quickly, the boot camp officially sold out for August 16th, 2025.
Nice.
It is sold out, and we might announce more, but I have to figure out what dates to do them on because I got some busy September and November coming up, and we got baseball in October, maybe, hopefully playoff baseball.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. And real quick, Learning with Len hashtag is a thing. If you've been following Instagram, I've put up a bunch of episodes of me teaching my dad for the first time ever to take pictures with a real camera because he asked to, and capturing some of his reactions the first time shooting birds.
I really want to do something with that content, by the way. I think it's such wholesome father-son content.
Yeah, until he says that off-putting remark.
Oh, he's a Polin. I mean, he's your father. You are his son.
Wow, look at that power. Look at that powerful stance. Because I'm solid.
Oh,
that's
man.
right.
It reminded me of what you said during the radio interview. You're like, yeah, I was just really quick. I was really good. I was good. Something like your dad would say.
Well, what did I say after the episode? I was going to save this, but I was just like, it's really easy when they talk about my favorite topic, me. It's just easy. I love talking about me.
But that's why I don't want to like have a camera come and film you and your dad, because you guys are going to totally turn it on for the camera. I think it needs to be that behind the scenes, like iPhone footage, put a whole montage together, intro it, outro it, slap it in one video and call it Learning with Len or something like that. I think that's when you're going to capture the real moments.
Oh, we'll do it right. So when my dad called after the episode of the radio show, he of course said, "I just hope people don't start buying me cups of tea." He was doing a deep pullback to when I used to sell Lil cups of tea.
Wow.
Yeah. I think he realizes what's going on there. Like,
he doesn't want to become a character.
No, he loves being a character. He loves the spotlight. He was just saying he doesn't want people to buy him tea.
Well, it could be something different. Whatever
We'll come up with something else to buy, Dad.
Is he a coffee guy?
No, he doesn't drink coffee. None of my family ever.
That's why
my
you
mom
never
drank coffee.
Drank coffee. That makes sense.
Well, back then it was Folgers in your cup. The best part of waking up is
Best
these
commercials.
crystals.
Yep.
The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Those commercials always made coffee look delicious, and like Campbell soup commercials back in the day.
Campbell's soup, MSG in a can. Just add water.
Yes, so good.
Yeah, and that one Folgers commercial where that girl knocks on the door. The guy knocks on the door, and the girl opens up. She's like, "You're home." The best part. And then you find out they're brother and sister, and you're like, Epstein Island, where brothers and sisters can diddle themselves for the president.
Whoa,
facts. So that's going to be Learning with Len. We'll. I think I really want to do that. People, I like it because it's raw, it's real,
exactly,
and. My dad is going to say stuff, but the biggest takeaway from it so far is the real reactions of him seeing himself take the photo and then seeing the results and be like, I did that.
And that's why if we throw a camera into the mix and make it a whole production, we're not going to get that real reaction. And
it's going to be a behind the scenes production. So it just has to be, because I don't want to be doing all that filming. And
that's what I'm saying. Just film on your phone like you've been doing, and we put it together.
Something's going to happen. We'll have to figure that out moving on. Anyway, the RX100R, RX1, there's these naming nomenclatures, RX1R3 recap. We had to send the camera back so that they could send it out to the other creators, is what they tell us. But we did hammer it out. We did get it filmed, and now it has to be edited and not rushed out.
Everybody only had a few days with it, so it was tough to... And we also wanted to try and make more content out of it, so we also put it up on the table and compared it to the A7CR. Kind of already know our thoughts on the RX1R3 from that rant video, but we definitely do more of a deep dive into it in the review. Image quality is great, but usability, price, all that other stuff, I don't know.
The biggest questions obviously are the lens, and we don't dive into that side-by-side comparisons with, I believe you told me that Tony Northrup did some side-by-side comparisons
he did.
with an A7CR and a better 35mm lens, and found that it was better.
That it's not resolving like a current day G Master lens, or that it's not resolving like a $5,100 camera should.
No. And I talk about the old lens. I mean, I'm like, the lens is 10 years old. Actually, it's older than that. Why would it do any better than a modern day lens? Especially when it comes to focusing and all of those things.
Lots of fringing, lots of chromatic aberration. You can literally hear, that was a big thing in our video. You can hear the focus motors, unlike a current day GM where it's completely silent. So not that many people are shooting video with this lens, but if you want to be stealthy and silent, it's not going to happen.
The harshness is absolutely warranted, and you'll see that in the videos that we put out, and well, I'm sure the other people would hopefully come up with very similar findings as we did.
Yeah. Also, we filmed and edited and just put out the Sigma 17-40, their APS-C f1.8 lens. That video is now live. If you guys are interested in picking that up, I would highly recommend checking that video out. I thought you did a pretty good job with that lens. You really took it around.
Yeah, because I'm the best. I'm the greatest.
What was that,
Len? What's that?
Len? What? Huh?
No. I'm the best.
Like father, like son? What?
What? Huh? Yeah, no, I took it around. I shot it. That's what you do. You take it out there and you shoot it and you report back. And that's exactly what I did. But the thing is, it's an APS-C lens. It's like one of those lenses that if you're going to live on an APS-C camera and you never plan on upgrading, then it's a really solid offering.
And keep in mind, you can still throw that lens onto something like an R5 and the 1.6x crop mode and still use it for Super 35 video or shooting cropped on a large sensor. But obviously, it's not ideal. I wouldn't recommend that. But you could technically grow with it these days.
You could do anything you want and get good results. We're just being sticklers for certain things.
But it is that 24 to 70-ish 2.8 range in terms of 35 millimeter equivalent. So it's a great option for APS-C shooters, especially for filmmakers, in my opinion. Someone with like an FX30 or something like that. I think that would be my run and gun choice on a gimbal or something like that because it has that internal zoom capability.
Yep. All right, moving on. There's DJI. It's like this is that Trading Places movie with what was that girl's name that everybody thought was hot back in the day? Lindsay Lohan.
Oh.
Lindsay Lohan, and she did Trading Places, and they have a second edition. This would be a great time to plug that movie if we got paid to make a plug. They're doing.
Are you talking about Freaky Friday?
Well, yeah, I think they have Freakier Friday coming or something.
Trading Places is a totally different movie. Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy, yeah.
Oh, no, I'm not even thinking about Trading Places like that. There was another movie where the son trades places with, and I think it was with Kevin Arnold.
I don't know.
Fred Savage Trading Places movie comes up with Vice Versa, which in essence is the same. Let's see.
Same title, just different, yeah.
Divorced executive Marshall and his 11-year-old son Charlie usually touch a magical... Oh,
it's Judge Reinhold. He was
casually
huge back
touch
then.
a magical Tibetan skull, releasing a mysterious power that transfers Marshall's mind to Charlie's body and vice versa. Their problems have just begun because Epstein Island comes calling.
I mean, it's almost like a version of Big to some extent as well. You're going into an adult body.
Yeah, you know what I would do if I was that? I would be banging whores, Steven.
Jesus.
Be like, what's up? I'd be like, I may have a little dick in this movie. I may be a little dick, but I'm really an older man trapped in this body. It reminds me of Fred C. or what's his name from Kid Rock's video? Joe C, right? Joe C, Kid Rock. Oh my God, he's smoking a cigarette on a cell phone. Joe C, known by his name Joe C, was an American rapper best known for being a hype man for fellow Kid Rock. He was 3'9" with a 10-foot dick. Unfortunately, he died at the age of 26. But the thing was, his growth was stunted, so he was like an 8-year-old. And Kid Rock said that all the women wanted to bang him because they knew he was an adult, but they wanted to be on Epstein Island. That was before that existed, but it was like a thing. It was a thing. Well, anyway, back to Trading Places. DJI and Insta360 seem to be swapping places because DJI just announced a 360 camera and Insta360 is about to announce, and there's leaked images of this, a 360 drone.
They kind of already announced it, but they didn't announce it. They just said that it will be the world's first 8K all-in-one 360 drone, but haven't really revealed anything else.
Oh, I wonder if I wonder if DJI is going to have like a drone that has a drop-in for their new 360 camera, right? Like it connects in.
I guarantee it's
and
already
it flies
in the works.
with it.
100%. Yeah.
Like why wouldn't you do that? That kind of makes sense that it would have a place to snap in. And maybe that's why Insta360 in their marketing says the first integrated 360 experience or whatever in the footnote, because they know that DJI is probably because Chinese espionage is all over the place. They know that maybe they're going to create a drone drop-in for this thing.
See, you keep saying drop-in. I don't know. It's not like a traditional payload or something you could just put on the bottom of it. It has to, since it's 360. No.
It wouldn't drop in the bottom. It would have a slide in the front. So think of it like the Millennium Falcon. You know how at the front it has that thing that looks like you could slide something in?
That's where it would need to go, yeah.
So it would slide in there, lock into place, and then it would have top and bottom. That's a good idea, Jared.
Well, that's basically what Insta360 did. They have it on the top and bottom.
Well, hit us real quick with what DJI's 360. We're not going to go fully deep. We don't have it, but just the main specs.
Well, this just got announced, an hour ago? This morning, correct?
Yeah.
Something like that. So it has a 1-inch sensor, and I say that in air quotes because it's an equivalent imaging area to that of a traditional 4x3 1-inch sensor, but since it's a circular image area, being 360 footage, it's a 1-to-1 square aspect ratio. But again, it's equivalent to that of a 4x3 1-inch sensor. They're just chopping off the edges, basically.
Moils.
Because if it was a 4x3 sensor, it would be leaving a good chunk of it unused due to that circular image area.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This is the first 360 camera to shoot 8K up to 50p, which I am shocked about. You told me it shot 8K, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Probably 30p, not 50. But yeah, 50p, and they claim it can shoot in 8K 30p for up to 100 minutes, which is quite a long time because the issue with 360 cameras are usually battery life and overheating.
I'd be interested to see what Insta360 comes out with. They've had a 1-inch sensor camera, modular camera, for a while, and there's definitely improvements that needed to be made on this. And I see like there's only a couple reviews out or hands-on, and they keep showing it against the X4, the X5.
Well, that's the 8K camera, but I would prefer the 1-inch version.
Right,
yeah.
I would put it against the 1-inch, and it's just like they need to redo that 1-inch. We said it for years. We like the larger sensor because of the quality of a 1-inch sensor.
It's definitely better in low light for sure. Usually if you're shooting something dimly lit, I try to tell you to bring the 1-inch over the 8K. I love the resolution of the 8K. Definitely sharper for obvious reasons, but the low light capability is great for the 1-inch. I will say, speaking of reviews, Philip Bloom mentioned that he has the DJI Osmo 360. He's holding his review. He said he doesn't want to be part of the embargo lift with everybody else, so he's holding it till like Saturday or Sunday. So he also compared it to the X5. He says, I can tell you a few of my findings now. As a teaser, the Osmo 360 has the best image quality, and a big part of that are the large sensors and the native resolution of each being 7760 by 7760, again, a square aspect ratio, which combines the quad Bayer pixels down to 3840 by 3840. So essentially you're getting that kind of similar to what the A7S III does and the FX3. This makes the cleaner, better dynamic range and better lowish light in 8K in the normal video mode. Also, it has the advantage of D-Log in 10-bit, which is great. He says, but the Insta360 image is still good and has the huge advantage of user replaceable lenses, and it doesn't have the problematic overheating that the Osmo suffers from when you shoot in temperatures over 26 Celsius. Anyone who tells you it doesn't have an overheating issue isn't being honest with you. So there you go. Seems like the DJI is overheating already to begin with. He says it's fine right now in London, but last week and the week before was a struggle. DJI software also has a long way to go to catch up to Insta360. And he basically says it's good in low light, but Insta360 X5 is still a great option.
But I'm not going to put out my full review. I'll just give it to y'all right here. Just put out the damn video, dude.
Important findings kind of revealed right away, yeah.
Just put out the damn video. People want to know the day that it drops. You're not going to get lost in the shuffle, because if you want people to turn to you, why make them wait 5 days or whatever, a couple of days to come out? Just fucking put out the video, dude.
He does very thorough side-by-side comparison, so I'm really curious how his final video, what that looks like in terms of the image quality of both cameras. And then again, on the flip side, we have Insta360 going after DJI with their own drone 360 that we already mentioned. So
anti-gravity. You know, for people that are against gravity.
And Anti-Gravity is a company that was incubated by Insta360. So they're in charge of making this drone. And it'll be Insta360's first. The world's first, apparently.
The world's first integrated 360.
And the big takeaway from leaked information, they're saying that it weighs under 249 grams, so you can kind of bypass the FAA rules and not need a pilot license for this, which is a big deal.
Yeah, we can buzz anything we want.
So think of it as one of the DJI mini drones with an 8K 360 camera.
I just think they'll run into the same problems that DJI will have with 360.
Yep.
I expect Insta360 to run into some early growing pains with drones, unless they were able to totally reverse engineer everything, because they've had years and years, unlike GoPro back in the day that just fell out of the sky.
Well, and DJI was the first one to do it, so they had to learn from their own mistakes, where at least, like you said, they're basically just stealing and ripping off what they already have done over the years and perfected the drone, and they're making it their own.
All right, moving on to the Preston and Steve show edition of our show. The real quick, how this all came up is I know Marissa Magnata. She is a producer on the show, and she knows a lot about music. She loves concerts. I ran into her at an event a bunch of months ago. We talked about my book coming out. She, as a producer, is always looking for people to come on the show because remember, these guys are on 5 days a week, except in the summer. They're off Mondays, and they're doing from 6 a.m. to 10:30 every day. They have to do in essence, a 4-hour plus podcast.
Could you imagine the amount of content you would need loaded up for the week for every single day? Imagine doing this podcast 4 to 5 hours every day. We barely have enough to talk about for 1 hour a week.
Yeah, that's a lot to do.
Tough, yeah.
That's a lot to do. But anyway,
granted, they're covering national headlines, news, stuff like that, everything, where we're kind of specifically talking about our industry, of course.
there ends up being a lot of filler. There just is a
Has
lot
to
of
be.
filler on those shows, and like Stern also. I stopped listening to Stern. I stopped listening to Sirius because, well, one, I'm not driving in the car often, and these things should be podcasts these days and shouldn't be like I want to listen to it when I want to listen to it. I don't want to be like at 8:20 a.m. I need to tune in.
I mean, it basically is a podcast, though. They do live stream it and put it on YouTube video wise. So they kind of have their own podcast, 4-hour podcast every single day. And it doesn't hurt that there's 4 or 5 of them on air. So if someone's running out of something to say, someone else can take the lead and, go from there.
Yeah, so Marissa contacted me on like Monday and was like, do you want to come in on Wednesday between this hour and talk about your book and talk about your photography? I was like, yeah, no problem. And they asked if I could bring in my old school cameras to showcase, which I did. And my preparation for something like this is nothing because you never know.
Right.
You never know what they're going to talk about, and you just hope that you're quick on the draw and that they have good questions. Because the worst thing when you get interviewed, especially when I get people that message me like, "I have a podcast, it gets 50 downloads a week," and they want to talk to me, and they just ask, they're just not good. The facts are they're just not good enough.
I was actually surprised, and you guys will hear it in a minute, at how well-researched they were in terms of what questions they had prepped. They don't really know you. Marissa does, but not Preston and Steve. And it seems like they did their own research and had a lot of great questions.
They absolutely did have a lot of great questions. And we only spoke for like a minute or two before we went on air.
So there wasn't the pre-interview that like talk show hosts will do?
There really wasn't much. I mean, we had a quick discussion, and maybe some of that might have colored their conversation, but they really had everything ready to go. I mean, Preston had my book number 2, and I saw Post-it notes throughout the entire book.
Wow.
For things to really talk about. So
great.
This is a 33-minute interview. We're going to run the whole thing. Some people might have listened to it live, but I don't think most of you have. So here is the 33 minutes of me talking about my favorite subject, me, on Preston and Steve.
Our next guest has got a great book out. It is called Book 2, 22 Years of Music Photography. And if you have been in and around not only music events in the area, but sporting events as well, you've probably seen the guy. He's hard to miss. And we are welcoming into our studio Mr. Jared Polin.
Thank you for having me.
Nice to see you, sir. Thanks for being here, man.
Anytime.
You're easy to pick out because your hair is gigantic. You have a very large fro. And is this what your hair does naturally?
Naturally, it's nice and Jewish and curly, but this is when you pick it out.
You do pick it out.
Oh, yeah,
okay,
this
all right.
is-
So it takes some work.
100% always have a pick in the pocket. And
Nice.
when I need to poof it, I give it a nice little poof.
Very good. Listen, I need to bring something up because, and this is a little communication thing. You've brought in some amazing equipment, which I can't wait to hear about. It's so unique. But Marissa had initially told us, she said you were bringing a Civil War camera with you.
Yeah, a Civil War camera would have been if I had a one of those carts, a wagon, the Oregon Trail wagon.
Yes.
But I didn't buy one of those yet. One day
gotcha.
I'll roll up with that.
I'm going to tell you, I'm more impressed with what you brought today.
Yeah. There's one of them, and we'll get into this in a moment. It looks like a cannon, like you could shoot a giant cannonball out of it. This thing is huge, but we'll get the origins of that. But let's talk about you first of all, and your career in Philadelphia. You started your photography career here in this city?
Yeah, I started shooting at 13.
Wow.
So long time ago, picked up a camera, thought I could do a good job shooting sports, and then got into shooting sports and ended up with a pass to shoot the Flyers thanks to my cousin who interned there. So I was able to get one pass. And then through that, I was able to get a magazine to allow me to be their photographer.
Rolling Stone.
Which, it wasn't Rolling Stone at the time, but the sports, it was a local sports magazine. I think it was The Fan or something. And I got a pass through them. So I could go to every single game. Now, my mom might have to drop me off at the game, but I still was shooting games back when I was 17, 18.
So I know that Almost Famous is a prominent movie in your, and as I was reading about you, I'm like, this is Almost Famous Photography Edition. And that's basically what happened, correct?
Yeah, sports was getting boring, and then in college I saw Almost Famous, and I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to go on the road. Picked up the phone, called Rolling Stone. The photo editor picked up. She said nothing. I was like, hey, I'd like to shoot for you. She's like, I'll call you if I need you, and she hung up.
Right.
6 months later, I figured I'd call again. Got a new. They had a new photo editor. And I said what I did, and she's like, this is great. Send me some stuff. And if we have somebody coming through town, we'll give you an assignment.
What a thing to learn, though. Persistence. And you make the case about and you are a walking example of you never know until you ask. And also to know to ask again, because the circumstances, as in this case, changed and you were off and running.
Yeah, you just have to ask. My parents always said, "What's the worst they can say is no."
Right.
That's how I ended up. First show I ever shot, or not first show I ever shot, but the first Rolling Stone assignment was Norah Jones at the Mann Center, and really not a great place to shoot. It's a good venue to watch, but after the show, I had the tour manager's number. I called him on the phone. I'm like, "Hey, I'm shooting for Rolling Stone. Can I come downstairs and get some candids?" And they're like, "Well, you can come down and ask Norah."
Yeah.
The thing was, my editor at Rolling Stone was like, there's no chance you're getting backstage. We can't get that. And anyway, whatever. The guy sent up a pass. I go downstairs. He's like, here's Norah. She's like, I don't like getting pictures taken. I said, give me a few minutes. I'll take a couple. And this was shooting film. I took about 10 pictures of her just hanging out and jamming and told her I was done. She's like, that's it?
Yeah, I mean, you brought up the point, by the way, talking about that, and you talked about the photo pit. And I never thought about that. That there is some places have kind of an area that's delineated for photography, for to capture whatever's happening up on stage. And you say the Met because it's an older theater converted that it doesn't have this?
Well, the Met doesn't have a pit either. This was at did I say the Met?
Yeah, you did.
No, you said the Man.
The Man.
The Man, I'm sorry.
The Man.
Yeah.
The Man doesn't have a pit because they have those seats or up front where people go right against the stage.
Yeah.
The TLA has a good one. Formerly, the Electric Factory was always good. But the key was what most people don't know when you shoot a show. It's not like you just get a pass and you can go to the whole show.
Right.
It's 3 songs and out, which means you
Really?
get 3 songs and then they kick you out. And when they're smaller bands, you usually just stay and watch. When it's like Aerosmith back in the day, they walk you in, you shoot your 3 songs, and they kick you out of the stadium unless you have a ticket.
Wow.
So it's not all glamorous.
Yeah.
Right? But you do get the access, and the goal is to hopefully get in with the band so that you can get all access to be backstage to capture the things you want to capture.
Jared, one time I got access because I'm a huge Pearl Jam fan, and a friend was able to hook me up to go get that access for Made in America. It was here in 2011 or 2012. It was Pearl Jam and Jay-Z, and I had a piece of crap little digital camera, and I was only up there because I was a fan. And I was surrounded by people like you who are enormously talented and were carrying incredible equipment. And I got so many looks of disdain from these people who were on either side of me because I look like the biggest amateur jerk on the planet. But first of all, as a fan, I was really excited to be up there. Second of all, you get great shots. But it is like it happens quickly. The 3 or 4 songs, they go by fast, and then you're done. And you're like, all right, you got to figure out what you're going to do next.
Yeah, and you bring up the seeing amateurs in the pit. That's been more. That's occurred more now with digital. In going back 10 years, 15 years, you had a lot more people coming into the pit just wanting to be fans. But you have to remember, when you're there, you're not a fan.
Right.
You're not cheering. You're paying attention to capture the moment. And you can't be a fan there. You don't clap. You don't do any of that stuff.
So I told you prior to this interview, I checked your YouTube site, and I'm like, this is a wealth of knowledge here, and I subscribed. And there are a couple of things as I was hearing you talk about the purism of what you do, and we had Jeff Coffin in the studio on Friday last week, Thursday, and he's dabbling and his stuff is really good, taking pictures, and we were talking about the thing that I think probably holds true with you. You want to capture the moment. You love the backstage stuff. You want the perception to be that you've almost, and I'm paraphrasing, but you open up sort of like the space-time continuum, and on the other side of the camera, you're now able to look through that window as it was in that moment. And we were talking with the advent of so many photo app features and AI features and ways to sort of cheat and embellish. Where do you stand on the trickery after the photo's taken?
Well, we have to remember that photography, pressing the button is half the battle.
Right.
And processing and developing was another part. Like Ansel Adams did so much Photoshop in his time, like in the dark room, that it's okay. I draw the line at cropping. I don't crop. Right?
Really?
I don't take things out of the image that were there. Right? I don't crop personally because I don't want to second guess every single photo that I take. So every photo in book 2, or most of my stuff, like 99.99% of it, is never touched.
That's a mind blower.
Well, I just work on composition in my head. I want to see and capture it and not question everything after the fact.
Wow. That makes it even more impressive because your composition is insane.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, will you have something that you've photographed and everything is right except for just that one little bit of the composition that's off, and you're like, God damn it.
Yeah. No, that happens. You get upset about something. You're like, I could have done better, and I'm still not going to crop it because I know I'm cheating. Right?
Okay.
To me, I consider it cheating. Other people don't, and it's personal preference. There's no right or wrong.
Right.
I mean, you should shoot raw. That's my take on the
Says
world.
it on your shirt.
It does say it on my shirt.
Yeah.
I want the best quality possible that I can get.
There's a picture in the book, and I'm gonna have. I didn't save it, but it's of Aerosmith, and you caught them at just the right moment where you have all 4 guys on stage, all 4 of the guitarists, or Steven Tyler and the 3 that play guitars. Joey's hidden off in the back, but you've gotten them all perfectly captured at the right time. When I see something like this, I'm like, okay. Did you take 50 really fast pictures and just grab that one, or how did that work out?
That's a really good question. This is film. This was before digital, before I was shooting digital. This was First Union Center at the time, and they walked us out there. And this was another one of those 3 songs and out shows. We walked up to the stage. They had a catwalk, and they put us at this end of the stage. I'm like, how are we going to shoot them? They're going to be on the stage. They're 50 feet away.
Yeah.
First 3 songs they did right in front of us. Jeez. Right for us. And so I'm standing there with at the time, a 20 millimeter lens was the widest I had. And the camera probably at that time only took 8 frames a second. But you have to remember, it's film. I have 36 shots.
Yeah.
So it wasn't spray and pray back then as much.
Jared,
Okay.
I would have thought this was a composite shot. I would have thought that there'd be no way you could synchronize, but that is a moment in time, and that's what makes shots like this
like out of a
so
comic book,
amazing.
man.
Yeah.
It is, because I'm sorry to do this for those of you who are listening on the radio, but the position of Steven's arm coming right down by Brad's neck, and everybody is just, they're perfectly positioned.
And they're all
excellent.
they're all in flattering rock star positions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jared, everybody's got a film studio or camera in their pocket these days, or almost everybody does. I like shooting with my iPhone. I think I get decent photos with them. But are they competition for you? Is it do you see people taking pictures as competition, or is it just because there's 12 bajillion photos taken every day, right? But what you do is different. So how do you delineate what you do from everybody that's got an iPhone in their pocket?
It's about 12 bajillion. I counted. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a great question. I don't see it as competition at all, especially being that I'm an educator online and I teach people photography. I think that the cell phone I look at it as the minor leagues of photography. It gets people interested, and then they're like, when they want to learn more, they search and they find me on YouTube. Or they get their first camera, their quote-unquote real camera, they search and they find a video that I did, and then they're hooked. I want people shooting. I want to teach the fundamentals and basics, because I know that if you teach the fundamentals and basics, that you can do anything. But cell phones are... They'll keep saying that they're the latest iPhone is good. It's as good as a real camera. It's not.
Right.
It's not. Can I get great results? Sure. But when you're blowing stuff up 6 feet, 4 feet by 6 feet,
Yeah.
you're not going to. And when people crop, you start losing more quality. So one takeaway: don't crop your stuff. You'll get more quality.
So I'm going to try to adhere to that now because I had been, and I'm going to look. I want it to be as pure as the moment I hit the shutter. That moment is preserved exactly as it was in the picture that I get. You were in evidence of your fact that you want people to enjoy the experience. You're relaying a story about your dad who just all of a sudden wanted to take up photography, but he wants everyone is picking a level they want to be at. And some people want to progress to, get to a professional level. And you explained, you set up flowers and what? Flowers and
birds.
Birds.
He likes shooting his bird feeder.
There you go. And so you can get a fulfilling experience if that's all you're doing.
Well, what's cool is when he's taking a picture, for the first time I put a camera in his hands, set him up for success. He's sitting there photographing birds and getting excited as he's doing it.
Right.
Like, oh, look what I did. Like, I was able to capture this. I was like, yeah. And imagine parents going out there and as their kids are growing up, instead of taking crappy cell phone photos, they just get the very bare minimum mirrorless camera because it feels good in the hands. And you just go ahead and take better pictures of your kids. You just progress. Oh, there's my dad they put him up on the screen here with his massive, perfect stance that he said he's solid like a rock.
Jared, I love your concert photos, but I get excited when I see you or Fro at a Phillies game because I'm a big Phils fan. And I'm looking through a book of mostly Phillies. There's some Mets in here as well. Some great shots at the ballpark in South Philly, but also a whole bunch at Fenway. Tell us a little bit about that. And in particular, I love this photo of Nick Castellanos and his son Liam.
Yeah, I was up in so I have a season credential that allows me to photograph the games, and I went up to Boston. I cover my own expenses. I don't work for the team. I do my own stuff, and the pass lets me in. And I know that Nick likes to take early batting practice, which is 2 times earlier than regular batting practice, and his kid is always with him. So I saw them out there in front of the Green Monster, and I was like, hey, guys, wait right here. I get out not the biggest camera that I have here, but the 1940s camera, and I focus on them, and boom, get it set. Takes like 1.5 to 2 minutes to get one exposure, and it's just a really good. There's also another shot of them in Wrigley Field where they were stretching before the game, and I have another family picture, or the 2 of them. So those are pictures. To me, I love giving the gift of photography. So I printed those out as metal prints, mailed them to Nick's house, didn't tell him I was doing that, and that's the whole point. I love giving the gift, just giving people the images so that they can live on.
Do you know, it occurs to me you have the same skill set that a good beat reporter would have, or that someone who knows how to finesse their way into things, who to talk to, who's the guy at the door, who's the second in command, who's the third, and you do these bank shots that get you access. Did you just always have that, or is that something you had to work on?
The skill set, I mean, watching my dad as a salesperson his whole life, selling children's wear back in the 80s, and just the encouragement of my parents, you just ask.
Yeah.
Right? But you have to be good, but you also have to just ask.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen.
But there's also angles to play that you play. Like, for example, the old gossip reporters of the past would be, I'm going to grease the doorman's palm and he's going to tell me when so on and so. You know what I'm saying? That sort of stuff.
I've never given anybody any money to let me in.
Okay. Yeah.
I usually I always carried around a book of my work. Even when iPhones became prevalent, it's small. You want to showcase a physical book.
Right.
You hand that to the tour manager and they go, oh, you're the real deal.
Yeah,
right.
This is way more impressive. Marissa brought this in, and I'd seen photographs of yours, but opening up this book, that's a whole other experience.
Yeah, you're talking about book 2, and it weighs 8 pounds.
Wow.
It's all self-published, because if you went to a publisher, they would never do the quality that we did. Printed in Italy. It does what's called a Swiss binding. If you noticed, everything lays flat. You don't lose stuff in the gutter.
Yep.
That's what you get with the quality when you actually do it yourself.
Wow. And it's 22 years of music photography, and there's some focused subjects that you spent a lot of time in there. Perry Farrell being one of them, Modest Yahoo, the band Silvertide. You spent amount of time with Foo Fighters as well, I saw. Who are some of your favorite subjects to shoot, just by name, if you don't mind asking?
I mean, Perry was awesome. Being on the road with Perry for 6 weeks was a long time, but hearing literal stories about Jane, he's sitting in the back of the bus and you're like, can you tell me about Jane?
Yeah.
And it's literally the lyrics to the song.
Jane says,
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's funny, Perry.
Yeah.
Of course, all the guys from Silvertide, they helped me at the very beginning. They were one of the first bands that let me in behind the scenes to capture them. So that was great. Working with... Go ahead.
Was Perry your first tour that you went out on?
The first tour that I went out on the road with Shinedown.
Oh, really?
Sure.
For a couple days.
Yeah.
That was interesting. There was a Three Doors Down thing way back in the day. I went on the road with Modest Yahoo a little bit, but 6 weeks on the road in 2007 with Perry was the biggest, longest, and one of the first ones.
Wow.
Well, we appreciate the show and tell aspect of your appearance here today because you brought a couple of classic cameras with you, and I had mentioned the giant one. Let's start with this one that's closest to you, if you don't mind. What is this?
Yeah, this is called a Graflex Speed Graphic. This particular model was made from 1948 to 52. The lens on it is technically radioactive. It didn't set off any Geiger counters when we came in, but that's because it was on B-29 or B whatever 19 big bombers. It was part of an aerial camera that flew in the planes to do reconnaissance.
Wow.
And so what happened is after the war, people bought them and realized that you can retrofit it to this camera, and that's what gives you this amazing background bokeh. It's an f2.5, if that means anything to anybody, but it's a big hunk of glass, and you have to get your focus perfect. And if it's off ever so slightly, the image is just burned, and you just burned like $5.
Wow. So from a neophyte's take on this, what would we pay if we were to try to acquire this camera?
So back in the day, the lens would have set you back like $35. Now to get a new one, it's like $1,250.
Wow.
Yeah, this one I paid $900 for because it's not as fresh as the new one, the one that I just picked up.
So is that mainly for portraits?
Yeah, you're not you are not tracking a subject with this one.
Right.
But the Big Bertha, the other one, you can track a subject with that.
Dude, this thing, I have to describe. It's about 3 feet long, the lens and the whole hub, everything together. Looks like it's about 3, maybe some change a little bit longer than that. And it looks, like I said earlier, it looks like a cannon. Do you have any idea what the diameter of that thing is?
It's like 1,000-millimeter lens equivalent. It has so it's 40 inches long.
Okay.
Is that lens.
All right.
The whole box to the back of the camera is 43. The thing weighs 35 pounds.
All right.
So when you put that into the box that I get it with, that I carry around with, it's 68 pounds.
Okay.
And so it's a lot. But that camera was originally produced, the back of it, in 1912 to 1943 or so.
Jeez.
And then they were custom retrofitted to fit these big pieces of glass. And newspaper shooters would use these back in the day.
Where would a moment in time? What iconic picture might have been caught by a camera such as this?
Well, so if you look at Willie Mays catching the basket catch, right? It wasn't done with this. It was done with some speeding camera that was set on fire, I was told. But if you look at the top, you find the full res version of that. You look at the top. Where the end of the fence is, you can see 3 or 4 of Big Berthas up there because news shooters would shoot from there as well as behind home plate, and the negative is 5 inches by 7 inches. It's massive. It's like, think of half a sheet of paper as the size of the negative.
Wow.
That's 26 times the surface area of 35. ChatGPT told me that one. I had to look it up. But if you think of a 35 millimeter negative, that has 26 times the surface area.
So, quick nerdy question: film and digital. Are we moving to your liking towards a confluence of the abilities, or is it still a big chasm between digital and film?
Well, digital. I can shoot 120 frames a second with digital.
Yeah.
Right. Raw. It's incredible. But a lot of people are shooting film. I equate it to people buying albums. It's not as big as people say it is. I'm okay with people going and learning film photography if they go through the process.
Right.
Get the camera, go manual, develop it yourself. I draw a line when the 20-somethings are sending their film to a lab and then not even asking for the negatives back and just getting scans. To me, that's a waste. You shouldn't even do it.
Right.
I did take, when I was in high school, I took a photography class, and that was back in the day when you had to process everything yourself.
Same here, yeah.
It was awesome. It was a cool experience. And And I'm glad I went through that. I'm not a photographer by any stretch, and I probably won't go back to shooting on film. This is not practical for what I do. But it was a fun, cool experience. If one wants to delve into that, how difficult it is to get a hold of materials and make that happen?
It's not very hard.
Okay.
There's actually a place in Reading called Retro Camera. This kid was collecting film cameras when nobody was. And so now he has a store that used to be it's a 110-year-old camera store that he bought from the original owner, and it is a camera store again. So he does processing. I do my own processing. I didn't at first. I sent the first stuff out. They said it would take 10 days. I'm like, I'm not doing that. And I got I learned it's a process.
Yeah.
If you follow it to the T, it should work.
Jared, my wife is an artist. She's a fan of yours, and introduced me to you, and I think it started at Phil's Games. And she collects antique cameras and stuff that's been around for a long time. One of her proudest achievements was that she got a camera from her grandfather. He took a photo at Mount Rainier in like 1943, something like that. We went back to visit a few years ago, and she used the same camera that he used to take a photo in the exact same spot. It was a really nice, sentimental moment for her, and ended up being a really cool photo. And so I appreciate that. It was a cool little celebration of something that happened 70 years ago and we were able to do and replicate. For you, do you look at like historical photos or historical moments and you're like, I want to shoot something that happened, in the 1910s or 1920s or whatever?
I use a lot of the older work to inspire what I'm doing. So if I get down in a rut, people always ask, what do you do to get out of a photo rut? You look at the classics that came before you. To know how they were shooting at a time where they had no technology or the greatest technology for their time.
Right.
And then we have everything in our capability today to shoot beyond anything they could ever think of. It's incredible to go back and look at what they did.
So I just had this conversation. I was talking about the American in Paris ballet scene from the movie. And when you realize, and the people, what was that? When you realize the cameras they were using to shoot that thing, the tracking shots and all that stuff, and put it into perspective, it was like climbing Everest compared to what they can do now. When you put it in context, I can see where it would excite you. When you're going to think of a photographer, when you're in a lull, what photographer do you turn to excite you to say, yes, this is where I need to be?
Gordon Parks, one of the greatest photographers of all time. A black photographer in the 1940s who walks into Life magazine, puts his stuff on the table, gets kicked out, but all the other photographers walk in at the same time and say, you need to hire this guy. What he was doing was incredible. And when I discovered his work, Gordon Parks' stuff was awesome. He also did, he directed Shaft.
Oh,
right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That Gordon Parks?
That Gordon Parks.
We had Richard Roundtree in here for an interview one time. It's one of my favorite movies. It's just great. I didn't realize that. Wow.
Question, Jared, for those who want to pick up the book, what's the best way to go about getting it?
Well, first, it's 8 pounds. You have to make sure you can pick up 8 pounds. You can go to froknowsphoto.com /book2.
All right, and froknowsphoto is your .com is your webpage with all your info and everything in there. Okay, so but the YouTube channel, tell us who that's for.
Well, one of the reasons was my mom.
Okay,
right. She passed away in 2008, and she always wanted to learn photography, and I helped her at the beginning, but I didn't give her as much help as I should have, and I was very closed off to helping others when I was younger, because I thought if I helped people, then they would take the jobs from me. And then I had a 180, and I was like, I'm just going to give it out. I'm going to start making videos because I think I have something to say, and I think people might listen. And I started to put videos up every single day on YouTube starting in June 1st of 2010. 7 years went by. It was one video a day for 7 years. Wow. That's what it averaged out. And so I realized that if you give it away, you can get a lot in return. Give, and then ask, right? When it's time to ask, you can benefit from it.
So, question, I have a friend of mine who's a great photographer, and asked him for some advice, and he dove more into the philosophical side of things, like you need to get the story, and all that, and I understand that's important, but I'm like, okay, but how do I make the background blurry and the foreground clear, like things like that? Do you handle basics like that?
Fundamentals and basics. I call it Mr. Rogers. Is the type of stuff I like to do. I Mr. Rogers it for people.
Okay, great.
Make it as simple as possible. Basics, fundamentals, and you can start shooting. I can have you shooting blurry background pictures in a matter of minutes.
Well, because it can get incredibly complex as
And
you
expensive.
go on. And expensive. Yeah, there was a stretch of phase. One of my kids went through a photography phase, and we bought stuff, and it is not cheap. And we were having fun with it for a little while, but the phase came and went, unfortunately. But I'm left with all this equipment, and I'm like, I should know how to operate this stuff better.
Yeah,
So it's right for me.
100%.
Okay.
I can teach you in a matter of minutes.
All right. And what is your YouTube channel?
Fro Knows Photo. I usually say .com. That's how I intro it. But
Fro
yeah,
Knows
if you look at Fro Knows Photo, you will see there's, 3,500 videos over the past 15, 16 years.
Wow.
Watching a couple of them, and they are, Preston, they are accessible. So in case you feel you're going to be steamrolled with a barrage of tech talk, it's not that approach.
Good. Excellent. What do you have coming up as far as work goes? Phil's?
I got some travel. I got a Japan trip to go shoot over there.
Wow.
And then I'm going back on safari in November.
Wait, say who you went on safari with.
Mystery Man?
Yeah.
I call him Mystery Man, but Ken Griffey Jr. was with us on safari. He loves photography, and I will tell you, photography has opened unbelievable doors for me. The fact that I had no idea that Ken Griffey Jr. was following my Instagram. I sent him a message. I'm like, Junior, if you ever want to talk photography, here's my number. 10 minutes later, I get a call. Hey, it's Junior. I'm like, hey, Junior, what's up? And then we just talk. He's like, you want to come, go down to Florida, meet him for dinner. We just have dinner. We hang out. We shoot. Just an awesome guy.
So Ken Griffey Jr. and then Randy Johnson, we were talking a little bit before the interview. Like, that guy's gotten really good to be, in a second career as a photographer. He works golf tournaments, and you've gotten to know Randy a little bit as well.
Yeah, Randy's a whole nother animal. I went to dinner with him once, and he's finally stood up. I'm like, oh, 6'10". Yeah, that's what that looks like.
You told me about in the first book the photo that you have of Bryce Harper in the dugouts. Great picture. You said he was great for the whole session. Were you using this camera closest to you for that?
Yeah,
for
and
that
when I
shoot?
say whole session, it was 2 photos. So it was like 5 minutes. But what happened is we had a couple of missed opportunities where he had to change. Not change, but he got pulled another direction. He personally came up to me and said, I'm sorry, let's reschedule. And he did it.
And is this one you said you have to stay still for like a minute and a half?
No, you don't have to.
Okay.
Well, so as soon as I lock my focus in, the process is this. I set up the tripod. I focus on the subject. I have to put my eye up to the back of the glass.
Yeah.
As soon as I wind the shutter, I can't see through the back of the camera. So if they move or I move the camera, it's going to be out of focus. So I wind the shutter 3-4 times, put the film in, pull it, shoot it, and then you hope you got it. And you hope they stayed still. Bryce sat in the perfect position. He put the bat out perfectly, so it said Victus right on it. He knows what he's doing. He made it easy.
What's your biggest found out you missed it in the development stage?
Preston was asking me about a photo in the book I was showing him. Why is it blank? Well, it was a photo of Kyle Schwarber up in Boston. What happened are 2 negatives stuck together when they were developing in the tank. I didn't realize I put them together. The back negative turned out, sort of, and then the one that was blank, I took 50 sheets while I was there. That was the one that was messed up, but I still include it so people understand you do mess up.
Yeah.
But you can't kick yourself too hard. You get, like, people say, what's your favorite photo? And the answer and the old quote is the next one.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of, I don't want to say dead to me. It's done. On to the next. What can I capture next?
It's so cool. I wanted to ask one thing about, obviously, we talked about all of the tools in your toolbox that allow you to do what you do. It's as much schmoozing and befriending. But you talk about, and there was it's kind of like a quasi TED talk that you were giving, and you stress the importance of trust being the paramount quality. Once you blow trust with a band or a team, your name becomes mud so quickly in the industry that it can destroy your career in a heartbeat, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
You don't want to do something that either makes someone look bad, or if you're going to post something and you know what not to post.
Yeah.
You just know. And there's nothing that I posted, actually, the picture on the cover of the book of Perry smoking a joint.
Yeah.
He had new management that called me after that and said, you got to take that down offline. And I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I'm like, you've read the history of Perry Farrell. Yeah. It's well noted what he's done in the drug world.
Yeah.
I'm like, I am not taking that down. They're like, you'll never do this again. I'm like, I already did it, bro.
Yeah. Wow. Before we wrap up the segment, Jared, someone is insisting and texting, asking, it says, ask Fro to do a sniff and wind tunnel test on your head, Steve.
Yeah.
He's hilarious when he does it. What is
Sniff
that?
test. But so back in the day, Gary Vaynerchuk, if anybody knows that guy, used to sniff wine and associate it with weird stuff.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, I borrowed that in the camera world, and I would be at Alan's camera reviewing cameras, and I'd sniff it, and I'd give it a sniffy sniff and say what it smelled like. I'd be like, it smells like a red laser or a Lincoln log. It's just weird and weird sells. So if you do stuff that's different, it sets you apart from everybody else. The wind tunnel test is new. You just blow on something and say it passed or failed, and there's no rhyme or reason.
I like that.
Well, what can you test here?
Somebody's asking your head.
Would you mind?
Can you do a sniff test on Steve's head?
Yeah,
He'll come
sure.
over there. He'll come over there.
Oh, you're coming over here?
Yeah,
Watch
so-
the cameras. Don't knock over the old stuff.
Yep. All right. So Steve is going to lean down, bald head, and Jared's going to give it a sniff. Okay.
Oh, it smells like really nice shampoo.
Oh.
Yeah, is that,
He has no
why do you have
hair.
shampoo? Why do you use shampoo on that head?
What you're probably smelling is my sunblock.
Oh, SPF 50?
Yes. Yeah. Wow. Spot on,
That-
dude.
I can
You
tell
are a photographer.
it's the nose.
The nose.
Yeah, it's all there. Fro nose.
All right. So fronosphoto.com, by the way, and it's not, it's KNOWS, not NOS.
Yeah, people do that all the time.
Frocanos.
Exactly.
Photo.com. To get the books, you can take a look at those to get Jared's information, to see his work. Obviously, follow him on Instagram. And I am going to jump right over to the YouTube channel and spend some time there.
Go for it.
You're a fascinating individual, Jared. Great work. Thanks for coming by this morning. We appreciate it. And thanks for bringing this wonderful equipment with you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
You got it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, some love for Jared Polin. All right, with that, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back in a second. We got stuff to give away. This is in conjunction with the Naked Gun film opening up, and we got money. We have these cash cards, and need to know your dad jokes. All right, we need 10 people with dad jokes. We'll solicit officially in just a little bit, but you got to zoom in for that. Back in a second, and stay with us.
So what'd you think, Steven, about what you listened to?
I was just telling you before we came back on air, I didn't watch the whole thing yet. I've only caught a few minutes here and there just because I was finishing the Sigma 17 to 40 review that day. I thought you were great from what I heard. I thought you were super quick. I like where the conversation went from what I heard. That's all I got because I didn't listen to the whole thing.
Well, yeah, let me just say, I felt great on air. Like, obviously, I had a guy named Austin. I asked him to come along because I knew Steven was working on some other stuff, and I wanted to have him document the day of, or the show, me there, getting there, unpacking, and he's asking me questions. He's like, do you get nervous? Which is funny because we talked about that recently. And I'm nervous still. I still was nervous before I went on. But once we get going and we start talking, when you know the subject matter, when it's, me, we're talking about me. I know me very well. I've lived with myself.
Love me.
So
I love me.
I love me. It's all about me.
My favorite person ever.
Me. It makes it really easy. And so I was happy with the fact that not only did they have great questions and they set me up for success, but that when they had a question, something popped into my brain quickly. And so it wasn't like I needed to take a lot of dead air to come up with a bullshit answer. So when Steve is asking me like, wait, when you get down or what do you do to get out of that? Or is there a photographer that you think about? And I was like, oh, instantly, thank goodness, Gordon Parks came into my brain. I had a backup in my brain to say that popped in second, which was Danny Clinch, which would have been good because Nick, who's on the show, is a big Pearl Jam fan. And we know that Danny Clinch does a lot of their work.
And I saw you did the sniff test on Steve.
Yeah, I did the sniff test on Sneeve. Well, what happened is Preston was like, I'm getting bombarded by this question on the live chat that someone just keeps saying, Jared does a sniff test and wind tunnel test. And it's like, what is that? And you heard my answer on there. And so he comes over. I thought I had to go over to him, but he came over to me and I did the sniff. And what you don't know is I sniffed into the microphone so that it sounded more authentic and then sniffed his head. And I don't know why I said, it did smell like shampoo, but he's a bald guy.
When you said that, I'm like, what?
Yeah, he's a bald guy.
He's bald.
But he's like, oh, that's my
my lotion.
my sunscreen.
Yeah. And you're like,
oh,
SPF 50. He's like, you know what? You're right.
yeah. But no, they're professionals. They've interviewed thousands upon thousands of people.
They're Philly staples. They've been on air for 20 plus years at this point. People love them. They're top rated morning show around here. I'd say they're almost on the national scale, right?
They're one of the bigger shows in the country, one of the longer
Not
going
syndicated.
shows.
Yeah.
They haven't been syndicated, which I find interesting. I would venture to say they're on the last couple of years of terrestrial radio before they make a transition out of that studio and into their own, where they do a live stream and a podcast and ask people to either support it via Patreon and sell their own ads.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if they're on the verge of retirement.
Oh, well, maybe they're pushing that too.
Yeah.
That's you know what I found interesting? It was really good that Nick, who's on the show, had Nick written on his microphone stand, so that when I looked over there, I knew that I would call him Nick. Just like you have Road on yours right now, it should say Steven.
I'm glad you don't have trouble remembering my name.
No. Well, I didn't want to screw up Preston and Steve, so it just
I get
goes
them
in your
flipped
brain
around all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the tactics that I use that I think really helps in an interview, and I learned this from someone way more important, is that when someone asks a good question or a question, you start off with, that's a great question. Or that's an awesome question. You're like, that's a great question. And then you go into it because it makes that person feel like they asked a great question. Now they're more engaged because you're like, that's a great question. Here's my answer. It's one of those tactics that's used in public speaking that I've learned when I've been public speaking and someone asks a question. It's great to throw that back out there. That's a great question. Unless it's a stupid question and you're like, shut the fuck up and sit down. That's from the Girl Next Door when the director guy stands up. He's like, "Fuck you, next question. Shut up."
Jared, why are you the greatest human being alive? Well, that's a great question.
I didn't curse. There was no cursing.
That's what I was actually scared about. I thought you were going to throw in see you next Tuesday or something, because that's part of your vocabulary.
It is part of my vocabulary. If you heard the outtakes of Photo News Fix, I say cunt face all the time.
Oh, man.
Dick suck. But
Jesus
it's all
Christ.
self-deprecating.
By the
so
way,
when
I feel so bad for people that are listening, like with their children right now in the car. We get texts like that all the time. Like, yeah, thanks for dropping F-bombs while my kid's next to me in the car.
fuckity fuck.
Oh, earmuffs.
Fuck.
Too late.
Too late. You're listening to this show. So I felt great. I felt like it was a great interview. And the fact that it went on longer, like I was standing there, I didn't check my watch, but I was like, they told me 20 minutes. And it ended up, it felt like I thought it was 40 minutes, but it ended up being around 30 plus minutes, which is great.
I wouldn't be surprised if they usually have a 30, 40-minute limit, but they tell guests 20 just in case they need to just wrap it up if it's a bad interview, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
We've done that before in radio.
It just felt really good. I enjoyed being on there. But no, I love talking about me. I love and then I had a date and then it's just like I don't have to talk about me on the date. Like,
did you hear my interview? Did you hear it? It's all about me.
She actually did hear the interview. Well, the good news
Did
is
he
she's
like
a photographer. Yeah, the good news is she's a photographer, so we can talk about photography, and that's like then you don't have to talk about real stuff because
Wait, she's a photographer.
yeah.
Oh.
I slid into her DMs.
Oh.
Yeah, but who knows?
Did you critique her work yet? Does she crop? Does she shoot raw? I have so many questions.
She won't go mirrorless.
What?
Just dumb statements.
Dump her.
I'm like,
She's gone.
She's just like, it just feels good in my hands. I'm like, have you held on to a modern? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear this. Oh, I have a 51.2. I'm like, how about back focusing? Because if you have a 51.2 EF on a 5D Mark IV, you're not shooting at 1.2 and getting focus.
I never shot wide open with that.
Yeah, because you couldn't.
I know. That's why.
It would just miss. It would be
ear
back
focus
focus
every time. Yeah.
It's like, well, for weddings, I don't really need. I'm like, no. We can't have this conversation. No.
I'm leaving.
This is over. You pay the goddamn bill.
Over before
and
it
get
even
out of
began.
here. It's over. But I thoroughly enjoyed being on show. I felt like it went extremely well. I felt really comfortable. I was very happy with the quickness of the answers, the quality of the answers. I thought I was an A+ guest if I needed to rate myself.
You're always really good with that stuff. From the build speech to a live interview on the radio, I never question that stuff at all. You're always quick.
even when someone has you on that asks really stupid questions, I will make them look really bad. So we're going to Rappy McRapperson this up. If you've got questions that you want to ask, 313-710-9729. As always, the text line is open. It's a great place to get Stephen to read something or me to read something and to reply from time to time.
And before we wrap, I do want to thank everybody for leaving comments on Spotify, leaving reviews on Apple Podcasts. I think 2 shows ago we asked for that, and we had a ton of people comment, leave reviews, text in. Also, a lot of birthday wishes. Thank you for that. But I do appreciate when people take the extra effort and just comment on the show. Makes me feel like people are actually listening.
Let's call that a day. This is episode RAWtalk 162. Thank you guys very much for listening. Jared Polin, Photo.com. See ya.
Bye.